I raised my cousin for 7 years. Then his mother appeared and told him I kidnapped him. I was 19 when my Aunt Vanessa dropped off my cousin Jaden at my apartment, claiming she needed 2 weeks to get back on her feet after losing her job. He was 8 years old with a backpack full of dirty clothes and bruises on his arms that she said came from falling off his bike. She reeked of alcohol at 10 in the morning. I was barely making rent working double shifts at a warehouse. But what was I supposed to do? Let my little cousin go back to whatever situation had put those marks on him? I told her 2 weeks was fine. Instead, those 2 weeks turned into 7 years of me figuring out how to be a parent when I was still basically a kid myself. The first few months were brutal. Jaden had nightmares every single night, waking up screaming about monsters trying to take him away. He'd wet the bed and then cry because he was embarrassed, apologizing over and over like someone had punished him for it before. During the day, he'd follow me around the apartment like he was afraid I'd disappear, asking every few hours if I was going to leave him too. I had to call out of work twice that first month because he refused to go to school, clinging to my leg and begging me not to make him go. I spent my entire first paycheck on new clothes for him because everything he'd arrived with was either too small or had holes in it. Vanessa would surface every few months, usually when she needed money or a place to crash. She'd show up with elaborate stories about new jobs and new boyfriends and promises that she was ready to take Jaden back. Each time, she'd stay for a few days, filling his head with plans for trips to Disney World. Then she'd disappear in the middle of the night. I learned to hide my wallet and prepare Jaden for the inevitable disappointment. By the time he turned 12, he'd stopped asking when she was coming back, but I could see him watching the door every time someone knocked. I had to grow up fast. I switched to night shifts at the warehouse so I could walk him to school every morning and pick him up every afternoon. I learned to cook more than ramen noodles, spending my lunch breaks watching YouTube videos about healthy meals on a tight budget. I memorized the schedule for every activity he showed interest in, driving my beat-up Honda to soccer practices and school plays and parent-teacher conferences, where I was always the youngest adult in the room. Some parents looked at me with pity, others with suspicion, like they couldn't understand why someone my age would choose to raise a kid. When Jaden turned 10, I realized I needed to make things official. The school was asking questions about his living situation, and I was terrified that child services would take him away. I found a family lawyer and started the process of filing for guardianship. Vanessa was impossible to locate for months, but eventually she surfaced long enough to sign the papers at a coffee shop downtown. She was high when she met us there, pupils dilated and hands shaking as she scribbled her signature. She told Jaden this was temporary, that she just needed more time to get stable. After she left, Jaden asked if this meant I was his dad now, and I told him I was whatever he needed me to be. The years that followed were the best of both our lives. Jaden thrived with stability, making honor roll every semester and joining the debate team. He grew 6 inches in 8th grade, suddenly taller than me and eating everything in the refrigerator twice a week. I got promoted at the warehouse, then started taking community college classes at night. We developed routines that felt like family traditions, cooking Sunday breakfast together while arguing about which Marvel movie was the best. He started calling me David instead of cousin, but the way he said it carried weight, like it meant something more. By the time Jaden turned 15, he'd become the kind of kid any parent would be proud of. He volunteered at the animal shelter on weekends, tutored younger kids in math, and had been accepted to every magnet high school he'd applied to. College recruiters were already sending him letters. We'd talk late into the night about his dreams of becoming a lawyer, about the colleges he wanted to visit. I was so proud of the man he was becoming that sometimes it took my breath away. Then everything imploded on a random afternoon in March. I was at work when the school called to say Jaden had been picked up early by his mother, who claimed there was a family emergency. My heart stopped because I knew Vanessa didn't have any right to take him, but she'd convinced the office staff that she was his legal guardian despite the paperwork. I left work immediately, calling Jaden's phone over and over until he finally answered. His voice was different, cautious and confused, and he asked me why I'd never told him the truth about what happened when he was 8. I could hear Vanessa in the background, coaching him on what to say. To see how I got Jaden back, watch the full story on my channel or linked below.